Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. This is the Sikh History Series podcast, episode 5. The War in Chamkaur. On one side stand the forces of evil, a 1,800,000 strong army comprising of an amalgamation of Mughal forces spanning from across many countries and lands as mentioned in the previous episode. An army of bloodthirsty warriors, and as described in Zafarnama, they are all clad in black clothes carrying huge black flags. An army so vast and so large they block out the sun with the dust which rises as they march, bringing nothing but death and destruction with them as they march forward, shaking the very ground as they do. Like a swarm of black locusts, they surround the small fort of Chamkaur Sahib, in which Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and the 40 Khalsa warriors stand, ready to receive them and welcome them with a barrage of bullets, swords and arrows. The war horn sounds, bugling throughout the land. The battle drums are beating, the time has come. And then just like that, the battle begins. A massive tsunami wave of Mughal forces charged towards the fort of Chamkaur, screaming their war cries as they dash forwards towards the Qilla. And inside the Qilla, Guru Sahib has instructed the Singhs to use their bullets carefully, preserve ammo and fire only to kill. The loading of guns in these times was time consuming compared to the guns of today, where we have automatics and semi-autos. In those times each bullet was loaded itself individually, manually, followed by the gunpowder and the lighting of the fuse. However, Singhs were still highly skilled and could do this rapidly. Guru Sahib tells the Singhs, if anyone comes close, then engage them with your handheld weapons, cut them down, hack them down, and always remember the Shaheed Faujan are with you. Their grace is upon you, and they will aid you in this battle. And always remember, I am with you. Fight in this battle thinking of me. I am with you. The Singhs now are firing and massacring the oncoming charging forces, sending them to the other world. The Mughals and the other forces who have come close to the fort are being shot down dead. Bullets and arrows are hitting them, and their breath of life leaves before their corpses even hit the ground. The Mughals are attempting to storm the fort like a giant wave in the roughest of seas, but they are crashing short as they are met by a volley of bullets and arrows by the Khalsa forces. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj roars like a lion, shouting to the Khalsa warriors in the fort. Maharaj is talking to the Singhs, his most beloved warriors, and he was telling them, now is the time to draw the sword, now is the time to kill the enemy, now is the time to fight. The moment of glory has come. First fire bullets and arrows and kill those who dare to step against us. If any of them manage to close distance, then use your handheld weapons, your razor-sharp swords, your sharp-tipped spears, your battle axes which are famed for chopping people in two. Use your double-edged kanda swords and your armour-piercing daggers. Smash their faces and heads in with maces, crushing their skulls. Take out your khande and kripana and chop them to pieces, cut them up and stack their bodies high. Pursue the battle and fight in such a way that all the warriors in front of you become nothing, become mushed into the ground and the earth. Smash them, cut off any hand and arm that raises against you. Strike fear into their heart, into their weak, oath-breaking hearts. The Gurus, hearing the words of the great Satguru, are charged and ready for battle. Hearing their Guru give them orders and permission to go out and fight, kill, they are ready, poised to strike like cobras. They attentively listen to the great King of Kings, their beloved everything, Guru Gobind Singh. The Khalsa warriors have already checked their weapons and are ready to face the enemy. When they pull back the bowstring of their bows right back to the ears and let them go, the arrows fire out with such velocity and movement, each arrow flying like a snake in the air, firing and killing multiple enemy soldiers, going through a number of them at once, hitting the first, exiting, going through the second, a third, a fourth and a fifth, and so on. Fully armoured, huge, tall, strong Mughals and hill chief warriors falling dead. Guru Sahib has instructed the Singhs to use their bullets wisely. Each and every bullet must count. When the Singhs are firing their guns, massive loud noises of the gunshots are echoing throughout the battlefield in a haunting sound. Kavi Santokh Singh writes, the sound of the Singhs' guns firing is horrendous. Karakar machi. The bullets are going off, causing horrific, dreadful damage to the enemy. The Mughals, whom are on horseback charging the fort, are being shot and falling dead, their corpses looking like drunks who have collapsed and fallen face first in the gutter. Somewhere someone's head has been shot off. Elsewhere, someone has had their face ripped off by bullets. Elsewhere, arms have been shot off, and elsewhere, legs and other limbs. The battlefield is such a bloody mess. As Mughal generals open their mouths to shout orders and give out orders to attack and kill, the Singhs' bullets hit them in the face and the mouth and they die. Their orders remain in their mouths. As the Singhs' arrows hit the enemy, their breath of life cannot be saved and they die there in the battlefield. As one wave of Mughals attack and get slaughtered by the Singhs, they fall in the battlefield. Another wave of warriors charge to the battle right behind them. These Mughals who charge forward never leave the battlefield as they are killed and annihilated by the Singh warriors. Bhim Chand, seeing this destruction of his forces in the battlefield, is vexed and stressed out. He cries out and asks the villagers who saw the Guru and his band of warriors enter the fort. Approaching them, he asks them, along with other generals, when the Singhs entered the fort, how many Singhs did you see going in? Bhim Chand is asking in bewilderment. There is only a handful of Singhs in the fort, yet they're decimating wave after wave of our attacks. How are they firing so rapidly and viciously? Our warriors are being killed left, right and centre. They're falling like trees. What is going on here? Tell me exactly what you saw and how many of them there were. The villagers, the Jat farmers reply, we didn't count exactly, but there was a maximum of 40 to 50 Singhs with the Guru. Some of them were injured and wounded from a previous battle. We saw them already bloodied and wounded as they entered the small fort. The Jat farmers curse Bhim Chand and Vazir Khan, asking and telling them, how is it you have 1 million plus of the world's finest warriors from across the globe? They are only a handful and you can't kill them. The warrior goes on to say, you have so many warriors and forces present that if every single one of you just picks up a handful of sand or dirt and throws it towards the fort, you'll completely bury the fort, the Guru and the Singhs inside, burying them alive inside the fort. On one side is a mount of an army, the other side is a handful of Gursikhs. Bhim Chand approaches Khwaja Mardud and asks him, what shall we do? Why is this taking so long? We have 1 million plus forces. Let's attack all at once from all sides at the same time. It does not matter how many of our warriors die. We have loads of them. We must kill all the Singh warriors inside the fort. Go forth with hundreds of thousands of warriors in the next wave. Make it the mightiest wave and force ever. Singh warriors will not be able to withstand this attack. There are only 40 or 50 of them. This has been confirmed by the villagers, a number of them, who saw them enter. Go forth and attack, and if you capture the Guru, do so, but the rest of the Singhs, kill them, rip them limb from limb. The most famous warrior, Khwaja Mardud, heard this plan also. He then approaches Vazir Khan. The great general Zerdast from Lahore is also called upon. Khwaja Mardud questions Vazir Khan aggressively. You were at Anandpur Sahib with Bhim Chand for 8 months trying to get the Sikh Guru. Are you going to do this here in Chamkaur as well? Do you want a repeat of Anandpur? A prolonged siege battle to no avail, where they escape from under your eyes. Let's encircle them from all sides and attack. Don't just stand here watching this drama, this tamasha. Get in there and do something about it. You all know why we are here, so let's get to it. Get in there and let's all attack at once. Let's show them our power. He goes on to say, these 40 Singhs are tired. They have not had a good night's sleep in God knows how long. They are starving. Some are injured. Yet they are still holding out against such a colossal army of supreme military forces. We have 1.8 million thoroughbred warriors trained throughout their whole lives in war and violence, fully armed. We have chariots, guns, war elephants, horses, dogs, siege weapons, and we have not even managed to kill one of their Singhs yet. Shame. Wazir Khan and Salida Khan, hearing this, are enraged, and they go and order their generals to all attack at once and massacre all the Singh warriors, encircle them all at once, flanking the fort, then attack. Now is the time to show our strength. In great anger, they are barking orders at the Mughal warriors, shouting for them to go forth and fight and kill. What are you doing standing here? Go and fight. Or charge and kill them all. The generals are sending forth the best of the warriors. Generals and commanders now themselves are leading their forces. They attack all at once from 4 directions. Kavi Santokh Singh Ji describes Chamkaur the Gari as a small fort, and it's a small little island with a thunderous, massive waves approaching it from 4 directions. And on that small island, Guru Sahib is the ship, which the Mughal force tsunami waves are aiming to bring down with all their force and all their might. But who can really bring down the ship? Who can bring down Guru Gobind Singh Ji? Nobody. Kavi Santokh Singh describes this as being a battle between the demons and the angelic beings of God, those with the armor of God. Like when the demons and angels churn the ocean, this is such a fight. This is such an act. Gavaji describes Guru Gobind Singh in the fort as a sight to be seen, looking beautiful and radiant, calm in the midst of a storm. Sitting in the highest position on the fort, looking like a shining jewel in a crown. With a thunderous noise, a mix of war drums, battle horns, screaming warriors, Islamic war chants, horses neighing, elephants making noise, war dogs barking, vultures above screeching, hundreds and tens of thousands of horses and men charging, gunshots going on, arrows hissing. The Mughal forces attack all at once, charging fast, screaming their war chants, under a barrage of thousands of bullets being fired. The enemy warrior attacked with such ferocity, many of them being shot and killed, dying in their attempt to reach the wall, charging forwards, and many of the Mughal forces come so close that they even manage to get to the wall, and with their fort sieging equipment, ropes with hooks on them, ladders, they start to scale the walls of the fort, climbing quickly to siege and take over the fort with the plan of killing the Singhs inside. The Singhs inside the fort now draw their handheld weapons, their khande, kirpana, talwara, battle axes and gurj mace weapons. Guru Sahib has ordered the Singhs before, use ammo wisely, and when they're close, cut them down. The Mughals climbing the wall in great number look like insects climbing a wall, but when the Singhs see them, they cut them down and they fall to their deaths. Their arms and hands and heads are being hacked off as they reach the top of the wall, with gurges. Their helmets are being smashed in, crushing their heads inside them. With battle axes, the ropes are being cut and the ladders are being pushed down, resulting in the climbing warriors falling to their deaths. Whoever has tried to climb the wall has been cut and falling to their death. As they fall to their deaths, their blood is spilling on the earth's soil. It's creating a red, bloody, muddy mess. Other warriors are slipping and falling in this muddy mess, and then they are shot dead. Horses and warriors are finding it difficult to maneuver in this mud caused by all the blood. Still, Warriors in great number are trying to breach the walls of the fort. Still the Singhs are bringing the pain. Some warriors are crying out and yelling as they fall to their deaths, screaming. Others, still in rage, are chanting and shouting war cries as they're killed. As the warriors are being hacked and cut down, they fall, and then falling, they knock other warriors off the ladders and ropes, and they're all falling to their deaths together, landing on their weapons and the weapons of their comrades. Death is all around, and many are losing their lives, dying in this most bloody, glorious battle. In this wave of attack, the Singhs are holding their own and bring death to all those who attempt to break the Qila. Guru Sahib at the top of the fort is shooting their arrows and bringing such great blessed death to many on the battlefield. The arrows of the Guru tear through many warriors who are trying to get into the fort. Guru Sahib is sitting in Birasan, the warrior position, holding their hands on a death-defying, awe-inspiring, deadly-looking bow. The mere sight of the bow is causing the Mughals to lose all sense of self and enter a world of nightmares. Guruji has placed his patta of arrows in front of him, allowing ease of access, and Guruji is firing rapidly and reloading at great speed, picking up an arrow and attaching it to the string of the bow, pulling it back in one movement, stretching the bow and the drawstring back to their ear. A savage amount of strength is needed to pull this bow back, and then they are letting these arrows go. But Guruji is doing this with such ease and fluidity. Oh, such poetry in motion. Each arrow fired is killing multiple opponents, going through one and then another, tearing through a fourth and a fifth and a sixth and more. Up to 10 warriors are being killed by a single arrow of the Guru. Guruji is aiming for their generals and hitting the most populated areas of the battlefield where the most danger is. Kavi Santok Singh explains from where Guruji is positioned, he can see the whole battlefield. And on this battlefield, Guruji's arrows are wreaking havoc, killing many Mughals, driving fear into an army of 1 million plus warriors who are scared. Kaviji explains Maharaj has on a beautiful damala, and on their damala is a stunning kalgi, tied on with dora, a feathered plume with pearls and jewels, and they are shining at the top of the fort. The Mughals are firing towards the fort, but none of them have the fortitude to even look and aim or fire properly, as they have fear of the Guru's arrows of death. They fire blindly in the direction of where the Guru is, scared. The Mughals are attacking with a great hallahal in a mad, frantic rush, rushing forth to bring it to the Singhs of the Guru. They are now using extra large shields and attempting to close in while protecting themselves against the arrows, and the Singhs are still killing them, firing off at angles and hitting them from the side. They still drop in the battlefield, and warriors lay dead on the battlefield with their eyes still open. The earth of Chamkaur has turned red with blood. The braver warriors are being killed, fighting and charging, but the warriors whom have cowardice in them are hiding right up against the wall of Chamkaur, afraid to climb up and afraid to move away. Scared to be spotted by the Singhs or the Guru, scared of death and the arrows and bullets of the Singhs and the Khalsa. Some of the coward warriors and the Mughals are hiding amongst the dead bodies and corpses, trying to disguise themselves. And doing this, they have become dead, even though they are still alive. The true warriors are still shouting out towards the Singhs and fighting in the battlefield. They are not stepping back or retreating. They are blocking the Singhs' arrows and moving forward with their chests out. As they climb the ladders to scale the fort of the Chamkaur, the Singhs are splitting them in two, hacking off limbs, sending them to the ground. Tens and thousands of warrior drums beating in the battlefield, giving the warriors inspiration to keep fighting. Kavi Santok Singh Ji writes, many ghosts and demons have entered the battlefield to see this bloodbath and fill their cauldrons with blood and drink to their heart's content. They wish to enjoy this spectacle of battle for which they have been waiting many years. Many vultures are eating the flesh of the dead soldiers, and many jackals and scavenger animals have entered the battlefield to feast on the dead corpses of of these once famed warriors and generals who now lie dead in pools of their own blood. Those warriors who were brave and heroic and make it to the top of the Qila, they are chopped in two by the Singhs with thick, heavy Tega swords. Swords are shining in the battlefield, reflecting any little light that shines through the clouds and the dust. Both sides are shouting out their war cries. The Mughal stormtroopers shouting Allahu Akbar. The Guru sings a roaring Akal in a piercing sound. Akal, Sat Sri Akal. Such a war is waging. It's raining arrows and enemy warriors are being killed as they charge, and now their charge has just been slowed down. The initial Halat battle charge has been repelled and many warriors have been slaughtered. They start to retreat, they start to step back. The enemy warriors curse those who retreat, sending them back into the battlefield to fight once again and wage war. Thousands of enemy have been killed, and there are dead corpses of warriors and horses littering across the battlefield. Such an incredible mess. And it's only been a few hours into this war, but the battle is nowhere near over. The Mughal forces now concentrate their attack on the doors of the fort. With a battle charge formation, they charge towards the doors of Chamkaur Qila. Mighty Khalsa warriors Kotha Singh and Madan Singh are situated at the very door, and the Singhs are shooting dead anyone who comes close. They are killing anyone who attempts to close in on the doors of the fort. Both Singhs fearless in battle, filling the enemy chests with bullets, forcing them to the ground. As they shoot, they are picking up the fastest charging enemy warriors, but slowly more and more forces are closing in on them, and they are unable to stop all the Mughal forces approaching. So they shout up to the Guru, the great Guru Gobind Singh, and ask for permission and blessing, asking the great Guru, can we leave our post? Can we step out into the battlefield and face this oncoming barrage? With our swords and shields, can we deal with this oncoming enemy in this manner? Let us show them our power and the power of our Dharam and our Guru. Guruji, all we need is your kirpa, your blessings, and we will unsheathe our talwars and our tegas, and then we will chop and hack their soldiers into pieces. Guruji laughs. In the middle of such a battle, Guruji is laughing, and he tells the Singhs, go forth and show your skills in the battlefield. Go into the thick of battle and sever the heads of the enemy. Chop them up in battle, my warriors. Go forth. Kotha Singh and Madan Singh pounce upon the enemy like starving tigers. With such ferocity and viciousness they attack the oncoming enemy warriors right in front of their beloved Guru. They charge their enemy, hacking them into pieces, chopping them up in battle. Guruji has blessed these warriors, his beloved Khalsa. With such power they are causing chaos in the battlefield. Such skill. They are pouncing upon the Mughals, evading the enemy strikes and landing their own. Upon seeing the warriors' swords covered in blood and them advancing in the battlefield with such biras, the cowards amongst the Mughals are getting scared and freezing with paralysis and being chopped to dead. Kotha Singh and Madan Singh are fighting as one killing machine, chopping legs, arms and heads. The Mughal forces, unable to put up a fight or strike the Singhs down, tactically retreat from fighting these two insatiable warriors. Then, with a barrage of over 1,000 bullets, they fire upon these two Khalsa warriors. The two Khalsa warriors are hit with many bullets. Their faces, chests and torsos riddled with bullets as they are shot apart. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj on the top of the fort was firing down arrows and arrows on the enemy, killing many of them. Watching his two Singhs wage war fearlessly on the battlefield, and Guruji is giving them a blessing and shouting, Shabash, Shabash, oh bravo, bravo to you Singhs. They too, when they heard the Guru's words, started fighting harder and stronger, killing the enemy in the battlefield, shot many times. They still do not fall. They still charge and pounce upon the enemy, still swinging their swords, still attacking the enemy, still killing in the battlefield, still repeating God's name and still thinking of the Guru. They charge. They eventually fall and are Shaheed in the battle of Chamkaur. Guruji with a smile then turns and calls out to the other Singhs, telling them, "Look, that is how you fight in the battle, the way Kota Singh and Madan Singh have displayed. Now, Kajan Singh, Dan Singh, Dhyan Singh, you go into battle." These three Singhs had taken up the position in the fort vacated by the two warriors and they were firing out to the door. And now they receive hukam by Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj to leave the fort and fight in the open against these army of oath breakers. Guruji tells them, "Run out into the battle with your spears, swords and shields. Like great warriors, like great tigers, go forth and break the ego of these Mughal warlords." The three Singhs leave the fort, sprinting towards the enemy and then pouncing in and amongst their ranks. The three Singhs' faces gleaming red, their eyes red with biras, their moustaches twirled up. How menacing do they look on the battlefield as they stalk down the enemy. A battalion of Pathans charge the Singhs, and with their footwork, with their bentra, the Singhs dance circles around them on the battlefield, pouncing and jumping, cutting them down and sending them onto the afterlife. Such a dramatic battle. How are three Singhs waging a war in such a way they are causing a massacre? Hungry tigers ripping apart the enemy. The Mughals again with a great volley of bullets at once shoot up these three Singhs, but the Singhs are still running down the Mughals and hacking at the shooters. By Kajan Singh, Dan Singh, Dhyan Singh have become Shaheed, running down and chopping the Mughal battalion of shooters. Randek Suraj Chatulas, gazing upon the battlefield, the warrior's mind is exalted. The other Singhs, seeing this, get inspired, and they also want to go out and fight in this battle. Now, Bhai Mohkam Singh Ji approaches and asks the Guru for blessings. "Guruji, I wish to go out into the battlefield. Please bless me. But I wish to go alone to fight. Alone to fight against this 1 million plus strong forces. I will not take another with me. I will enter this battlefield alone and stalk them in the battlefield." He says to the Guruji, "Watch as your own blessings unfold in this battle. I will do nothing, but your blessings will do everything. Sawa lakh se ek laraun, tabe Gobind Singh naam kahaun. I will manifest your words and bring them to life, but only with your blessing, Guruji." Guruji gives Bhai Mohkam Singh blessings to go forward in battle, telling him, "Go and live up to my words. Go and decimate and destroy the honourless army of oath breakers." The doors of Chamkaur swing open, and out walks the 28-year-old warrior Bhai Mohkam Singh, entering the battlefield on horseback like a hungry crocodile entering a swamp about to feast. Kavi Santokh Singh writes about Mohkam Singh that he is like lightning as he engages the enemy. Wherever he strikes, destruction follows. Wherever he strikes, destruction follows. To keep track of his movement is impossible, so rapid is his horse. The Mughals are charging, but Mohkam Singh, like a Magarmach crocodile, is taking them out and killing at will. Whoever he calls out is filled with fear, and he's chopping down these Pathan warriors through the shoulder, across the body, cleaving their bodies into such power. Kaviji writes that death itself would fear Bhai Mohkam Singh at this point. Masses of Pathan warriors and Mughal soldiers are blindly lashing out with their weapons and long spears, hoping to catch the Khalsa warrior by chance. But through his bentra, his footwork, he is evading all their blows, and he is jatkaing them with one blow, chopping and killing them with one blow. He is fearless in the battlefield. He holds his khanda and in the thick of battle, surrounded by Pathan forces, he is cleaving them in two, hacking off heads and limbs. Completely surrounded, he is cut and slashed. His body is bleeding profusely, and seeing the blood, Bhai Mohkam Singh is getting happy, and he's fighting harder. This great warrior is drenched in blood. He's one of the most trained warriors in the Khalsa Panth. And Khwaja Mardood, seeing this, shouts out to his forces, swearing at them, "You are 1 million strong and you can't kill one Singh? Kill him now!" The Mughal forces fire thousands of bullets towards Bhai Mohkam Singh, a lone warrior surrounded by the enemy. Many bullets hit the body, ripping his body to bits. Bhai Mohkam Singh is Shaheed before his body touches the ground. His body falls forward towards the enemy. He did not turn his back on the battlefield, nor did he step 1 inch back in the battle. He died in great biras, fighting the enemy. He goes to Sachkhand, and he goes to Sachkhand in that same warrior spirit. Guru Gobind Singh Ji is very happy and so pleased with his warrior spirit and the fighting of Bhai Mohkam Singh. Now, Bhai Himmat Singh and Bhai Sahib Singh, seeing the enemy coming closer to the fort, also ask for agya and blessings from the Guru to go forward, to go into battle, engage the enemy in martial combat to the death. Receiving blessings, they set off into the battlefield like great hunters going out to get them some kills. In their hands are swords and shields. They clash the oncoming forces, and they look like they're playing games the way they engage the enemy. They look like they're playing Holi, and they decimate and kill them in this war. Enemy generals are shocked to see 2 Singhs fighting in the battlefield like this, questioning the audacity of these Singhs. 2 of them entering a battle against million plus, and they come out fighting alone and in pairs. What are these Singhs made of? Do they have no fear? They fight like possessed warriors with such high levels of martial skill and spirit. The enemy generals cannot help but have admiration for the Khalsa Panth's warriors. And the Singhs are slicing through the enemy, ripping them apart. Like Mast Hathi, they travel wherever they want on the battlefield. They dictate what is going on, and they are stacking up bodies of the Mughal soldiers. Such a dreadful killing are they doing on the battlefield. Bhai Himmat Singh and Bhai Sahib Singh attain Shaheedi on the battlefield. Until their last breath, they are fighting and killing the enemy on the battlefield. Goviji writes, many angels come to take these warriors to Sachkhand, but the Singhs refuse to leave, and they keep fighting on. Many angels have come to take them, but the warriors are at home at the battlefield. They love the battlefield, and they do not wish to leave. They are so happy that they got to fight and die in such a battle, that the Singh spirits don't want to leave their bodies. And back in the fort, the Singhs are squabbling and fighting amongst themselves over who will go into battle next. In such jar, they're so happy and excited to enter the battlefield and fight in front of their Guru. They all wish to be the next to enter the battlefield. And the Singhs amongst themselves are talking and they're saying, there's no greater moment than this. You can live 1,000 lifetimes and spend each one in deep meditation. You can offer the whole world and everything in it as a charitable donation, but all that combined will still not compare to fighting in the battlefield and attaining Shaheedi. Such is this moment. Guruji now calls upon the Panch Mukte, Ishar Singh, Deva Singh, Tel Singh, Ram Singh and Fateh Singh. These are the first 5 Singhs to take Amrit after the Panch Pyare had been given Amrit, and after they gave Amrit to Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj. These 5 Singhs enter the battlefield, shaking the enemy to the core, all armed with khande and teke in biras. This Jatha of 5 enter the battlefield. They kill many Mughal Pathans and Turks on the battlefield. Oh, what terrible killing they are doing on the battlefield. Killing many warriors, they are totally absorbed in the Guru. Eventually, these 5 warriors attain Shaheedi on the battlefield. Goviji writes, There is not a spot on their bodies that is not cut or covered in blood. Such a great fight that these 5 Singhs put up on the battlefield. They did not step back in battle. They died sanamuk in the battle, facing the enemy like true warriors. They attained Shaheed and are blessed to join the legion of Shaheeds in Sachkhand. Fighting and dying as the bravest of warriors, never stepping back, killing many warriors, stacking their bodies, chopping off their heads, creating a bloody, muddy mess on the battlefield. These warriors are Shaheed, and we will honour and remember them forever. And this brings us to the end of this episode. And in the next episode, we shall hear more about the Battle of Chamkaur Sahib, and we shall hear about the Shaheediyah of the 2 older sons of Sahib Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, Baba Ajit Singh Ji and Baba Jujar Singh Ji. As always, bol chuk maaf karna. Please forgive any mistakes and shortcomings. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.